Okay, so today we're going to be taking a look at doing this example using Inventor and just the model only. So there will be no 2D drawing if that's something that you're expecting in here. This is just going to be the solid modeling of doing this. Now, if you're curious about doing something like this in SolidWorks, there is a video that I've created doing this exact same example using SolidWorks. And in that one, I did two different ways, or showed you two different ways of doing that. Now, I will do the exact same thing in here, so you can have this one as a comparison video to that one. And in this one, I think that video is around 40-something minutes long, and I don't plan on trying to make this video that long. So I'll see if I can go through this one a little bit faster, but this will be a good comparison that you can take a look at both of those programs, and we're only going to be using the Extrude command typically in this one. Here in Inventor, we do have a hole command where we can do some different things with those holes and things of that nature, but we're not going to be dealing with that here. We're only just going to deal with just extrusion. So when you see me make those holes there, I'm going to be creating them with circles, right? So there would be no, I guess some of the fancier stuff that Inventor can do. So I'm just going to teach you just the basics of solid modeling. All right. So now I'm just going to switch over to Inventor and get started on this one. Okay, so here in Inventor, if you select the new icon here, and maybe I should close this down and show it to you exactly from the beginning, but if I select the new icon, it's going to bring you open to this tab. Now, we're going to declare that these units here are going to be metric. So that's why I'm looking here underneath the English US metric, and then I'm going to tell it that I want to create a part, right? So here you see all of the examples that we can create. We have our parts, assemblies, drawings, and then we have a presentation, which is a special kind of, I guess, program. Is basically you can make it assemblies and do some other things with it and make videos. But what we're going to be concentrating here is on making a part, right? So we're going to just be using a standard millimeter part, right? And we've seen this exact same thing when we were in SolidWorks, except for the presentation part. We kept it nice and simple with the parts, assemblies, and drawings. So let's go ahead and create this part. Going to give Inventor a little bit of time to open up here, and I want to say thank you if this is your first time coming to this channel. I do encourage you to subscribe. I tried to show you the difference, at least in SolidWorks, Inventor, and in AutoCAD. So if those three programs are something that you're interested in, please come back to this channel. And if you have any special questions about those programs, or maybe I'm not doing something wrong, as I believe in being a lifelong learner, and I do like to learn from other people. So please leave me a comment down below if I'm doing something incorrect, or you may just have a better way of doing it. And, we could pick each other brains on that, as I don't mind doing it. Okay, but you're going to see that this program is going to be very similar in all of these 3D programs, except for I want to say AutoCAD, because AutoCAD is basically a 2D program. But the 3D programs are going to work pretty much the same. They're going to have a browser here to the side, and you're going to have a ribbon here at the top. Unlike what you've seen in SolidWorks, where the Sketch tab is always open, as well as the Feature tab. Here in Inventor, it's going to be separated, right? Although I can come and physically click on this tab, and it'll jump me over to the Sketch tab. But primarily, it's going to kind of walk through those steps for you. So if I select this Sketch icon, it's going to bring up those three views, and this should look familiar to you. They're just not calling them front, top, and right. Here it's just going to have a XY, which this is going to be the front. And the way that I know that is if you take a look here on the view cube, it's telling you which of these planes are going to be the front, right side, and top view. So we're going to do exactly like we did there in SolidWorks. I'm going to create here on this right plane. So I'm going to select it. Now, depending on where you select that at, sometimes this right will be upside down or in different orientations. Just remember that you can use the flip handle here to flip those. Okay, let's go ahead and sketch it out just like we did before. So I'm just going to go and create that L shape that you saw me do when I was in SolidWorks, right? And I'm going to keep referring back to that video. So if this is the first one that you're seeing, just kind of ignore that and, just understand that I did do the exact same thing in SolidWorks. So when you look at that, you'll see the difference. All right. Let's go ahead and put a dimension on here, and what I usually recommend is you put your longest dimension, or somewhat close to your longest dimension on here. So I'll go ahead and place this one. This is going to be at a distance of 105. Now it's just zoomed out. I'm just going to scroll out with my middle mouse wheel here. I'll go ahead and place this dimension. This is going to be 100. Let's go ahead and hit the escape button. This one did just like what it did in that video, so I'm just going to drag this and place it over, and then I'll keep going with my dimensions, right? So I'm going to go ahead and place a dimension here. Let's go back to the dimension. And this is going to be a dimension of 10. Now in SolidWorks, you can make these two equal to each other, and it's the exact same principle here in Inventor. All I have to do is hit the equal button here, and then I'll select them like so. You remember in SolidWorks, we kind of selected both of them, and then we let the options too. We could have also hit the add relationship button up at the top. Now you can do the horizontal and vertical thing. In this program, I prefer to use the dimensions because it's a lot easier just to use reference dimensions, although I will use some of these constraints later. So I'm just going to select this dimension here and this center one. Come down and place this dimension. I'll go ahead and select on the 100, and then I'll just divide that number by 2. And I'll do the exact same thing here on the other side. I'll select this line here, that center dot there. Go ahead and click here. I'll click on the 105 and then divide it by 2. All right. And it's looking like I'm missing one more dimension, and here it's telling me that down here in the bottom left corner. Let's see. I'm trying to see what I'm missing here. Okay. You can see that when I move this one, this is kind of going up and down. All right. So I just need to add a horizontal. And here's another thing that kind of bugs me about Inventor. You can see that I selected the horizontal icon, which is here, and it's giving me a vertical line that is dotted. That means that that is going to actually make that line vertical. So here I have to select the vertical. I always look at the dotted lines to tell you, and then when I select that line, it's going to place it in the correct orientation. Let's go ahead and finish this sketch. Let's zoom out. And then we're going to take a look at the extrude command. And a lot of these same principles are going to apply. So you're going to see this. You're going to see a dialog box that's going to appear. It picks the profile. I'm just going to tell it that I want it to go symmetric. And here, just like what you were seeing in that program, is that this number here is the overall length of what I need. So that number that I need for here is going to be 150, and I'm using it symmetric. Let's go ahead and hit the OK button. Next, let's go ahead and rotate to the back of this and kind of do that sketch on the back. So I'm just going to rotate this around. I'll select this back plane here, and then I'll select this icon here, which is the create new sketch. It looks exactly like this icon here. So I'll go ahead and select there. All right, so just like I did with the other program, I went to a project geometry. I didn't exactly project it. Well, I'm trying to think what I did. Maybe I did, but I'll go ahead and hit project geometry. I bring in all of those squares here. Let's draw a line from somewhere on here at an angle. Let's go up here. We'll go to here. Okay. Let's go ahead and put an arc. I'll go ahead and place a line here. Let's go find that midpoint, which is here, and then I'll come right up here. Let's go ahead and hit the escape button. We'll use the tangent. Select that line and then that one. We can do that again by selecting this line and that line. All right, so those two lines are tangent to each other. Let's go ahead and place a few more dimensions on here. So let's go to the dimension. The distance from this bottom line to here is set to 20. Remember that this has an angle of 30. And let's see, we have a radius here, which is set to 25. Okay. And I can go ahead and put this on the other side, but in the other video, I just did half of it and I did the mirror thing. So let's go ahead and do that exact same step here. So I'll hit the finish button here. I'll go ahead and hit extrude. And what it's going to do is look for the closed poly profile. So I have two closed profiles here. I have one that is located here, and I have one that's located here, and I actually have another one, the one that goes around all of them. I'm just going to select right on the inside of that one. I'm going to flip the direction. So you can see that it's actually cutting. If I did not want this to cut, here's the Boolean operations for it here at the bottom. and then I can give it a distance. So just like I did in there, I went through all. I'll just select it here. It's going to cut through that portion. Let's hit the OK. All right, let's go ahead and mirror that across. Let's see, the mirror command should be located here. We're going to select the feature, which is going to be that feature. Come down here, select the mirror line, right? The mirror plane. The mirror plane that we're going to be looking for, if you're looking at your UCS here, which should be the YZ, and we got to expand where it says origin, and then you can go and look for the YZ one. And you can see that it's going to give me that profile there. And once I hit the OK button, it should select that. Okay, let's go ahead and select this back plane again. Select this green icon. Zoom in. I'm going to go to project geometry to project in that edge. Once I hit the escape button, you can see that I do have that dot there. Now this program does have some cool other things to it. And it should be underneath the rectangle. We do have slots. So I can give it all the information that I need. And what I know about this slot is that I know the distance between them. And I also know the radius. So I'm going to use this center to center slot. I'll go ahead and select that point. Come straight down here. I'll click here. I'll put the dimensions on later. And then I'll go ahead and locate it here. Right? So there's that slot. Let's go ahead and put our dimensions on it. So we have this line here in the middle. We're going to make that dimension 45.4. And then we're going to go ahead and specify this radius here, which is going to be 15. Okay. Now once I do both of those, I'll go ahead and hit the Finish Sketch button. And then I'll go to the Extrude. And remember that the cut and the boss function are going to be both in here. So I'm just going to hit the cut function. It's still going through all. And then I'll hit OK. Okay, so let's go ahead and put these circles on. I'll select this face here. And go ahead and select the Start Sketch. And I'm just going to do a rotation around on here. Now, unlike what I did in the other video here, I'm just going to kind of speed this up a little bit. I'll go ahead and create a 2-point rectangle here. And once again, I could have did this exact same thing in the other video. Let's go ahead and put some dimensions on this. And I'll go ahead and place a dimension from here. And that dimension is 110. We'll go ahead and place this dimension here, which is going to be 50. We have a dimension going from here. It's going to be set to 20. And we have one more dimension that's going to be located here at 20. Before I put the circles on, I'm going to select all of these. And I'll turn them into a construction by selecting this icon here. And then I'll place these circles. So I'll go to a circle, and I'm just going to place them at all of the endpoints. And you can see I'm making some of them big, some of them small. Doesn't matter. I'm going to use the same thing I did before by selecting equal. And then I'll just select here to here. Then I'll reselect this one. Come down to here. Reselect this one and go to here. Okay, last thing I need to do is go ahead and put a dimension on to here. So I'll do a dimension here and go ahead and say that that dimension is going to be set to 20. Okay, let's go ahead and finish the sketch here. I'm going to rotate this around so we can see it happening. And then let's go ahead and use the extrude. Let's go ahead and pick inside of each one of these. We're going to flip the direction. It's going to go to cut, and I'm just going to tell it to go through all by selecting here and hit OK. Last step I need to do is go ahead and put the fillet on here. So let's go to the fillet. We're going to set the radius equal to 20. Just going to select that intersection there. Let's go to the other side and select here. Hit OK. And we should be actually done with this one. So this is the first one. Remember that we subtracted the portion off. Now the next time I do this, which is going to be here shortly, I'm going to create the other part of this, and I'm just going to attach it onto the back side of it. Alright, so I'm just going to go to the new icon. I'll go ahead and click the standard millimeter, hit the create button. It should load up. Just like we did before with the sketch. Just come here. I'll select this face here. All right, we're going to create kind of that same shape we did before. Just to kind of give you the variety of both of them, right? So let's go to here. Okay. And you see me do most of this stuff before. I'm just going to hit the equal button and speed a lot of this up. So I'll go to equal, select here and here. Go ahead and put my dimensions on here. This dimension here is going to be still sitting at 100. This dimension here is going to be setting at 20. We're going to have a dimension here setting at 10. And then we can do that other step that I was showing you before. So I'll start off with the horizontal, right? And you can see this horizontal line is actually giving me a vertical, but I can still do like I did by selecting this midpoint to this one. Then I'll go ahead and choose the vertical, and I'm always following those lines here. I'm tracking those. So I'll select that green dot here, and then I'll go to that one. Let's escape out of here, hit finish sketch. We're going to extrude this a distance of 150. Let's go ahead and make it symmetric. Let's rotate around to the back side. Select this face here, and go ahead and create a sketch on it. Let's do our line. We're going to place it here. And I'm just going to kind of sketch this out. Like so. Okay. Let's go ahead and do our dimensions on here. So we have a dimension from here to here. It's 30. Same thing that's happening here. We can, just trying to think of some other stuff to do here. We can go ahead and put our dimension from here going up to here. And we'll set that equal to 80. And then we do have a dimension going here, right across here, should be 50. And then I have to either do a couple of different things, but I'm going to wait. So before I put the fillet command on the outside here, I'm just going to add it to the sketch. So I'll go to fillet, make that number 20, and go ahead and place it here, as well as on this side. And then when I go to the equal, I can select this line here, and then this one, and that should straighten out everything. Let's go ahead and add that arc at the top as opposed to putting the fillet on. So we can either do that with a circle, or I can use the actual arc command. I'll do the circle this time just so I can show you the trim command. So I have the circle drawing, and we'll use the trim. I'm going to select this line here and make it construction. And I think this should be everything that I need. Let's go ahead and hit the finish sketch. Extrude. It should automatically pick it. We're going to send it this other direction, and we're going to give it a distance of 10. Okay. And it should automatically link and sketch to that, right? So once again, the rest of this you already saw. I'll go ahead and speed through this. I won't give you any commentation. It's going to be exactly like what we just seen before. So I'll just speed through this portion here. Hopefully you enjoyed watching both of these videos. As you can see that, creating this is really simple, and this is just a good example of how to use the extrude command no matter which way you're using it. You can see that in SolidWorks they have the extrude command divided into two separate things, either into a creating an extrusion or you actually cutting through it. Here it's going to be combined all into the one command of the extrusion, right? So Hopefully you enjoyed watching this video. As always, keep drafting. Thank you for watching.